Have you ever felt like you're stuck in old patterns? Reacting in ways that just don't feel like you.
Hmm.
Maybe carrying around anger that seems to just pop up out of nowhere, or hitting the same invisible wall in your personal growth.
Yeah, that's a really common experience, and it's deeply frustrating, especially when you're genuinely trying to shift things, but it feels like something's just holding you back.
Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we are diving deep into some truly unique material. Some might even say unconventional stuff.
Definitely unconventional.
But it offers a really fresh perspective on maybe why that's happening. Our source for this deep dive is Reweaving the Fabric of Your Reality, Self-Study Guide for Personal Transformation by Maureen J. Germain.
Right. And this book, it presents this profound framework where those sticky behaviors, the ones you can't seem to shake, they might not be entirely yours.
Not yours.
Well, not originating from you in the way we usually think, more like energies or entities, as the book calls them. And the idea is they can be identified and, importantly, cleared.
Okay, so our mission today is to unpack this. It's potentially really transformative material, maybe a little weird for some folks. We're going to explore what these entities are supposed to be, where the book says they come from, and, crucially, how it proposes clearing them to reveal, well, your authentic self. It's really a guide to gaining knowledge quickly, thoroughly, and honestly, with some genuinely surprising insights you probably won't hear every day.
Yeah, some really out there concepts.
So the book kicks off with some pretty radical claims about personal transformation. It suggests, basically, that the cosmic rulebook has fundamentally shifted.
Yeah.
And this has been in effect for a while now.
That's right. And the really profound insight here, the big claim, is that traditional karma, that historical burden of past sins.
Yeah, carryover from past lives, that kind of thing.
Exactly. The book states that it no longer exists. Instead, we're operating under what it calls immediate karma.
Immediate karma. Okay, what does that mean?
It means you effectively get a clean slate every single day, even every single moment. The book calls it a new dispensation for personal responsibility in the moment.
Wow. So no more being weighed down by ancient mistakes.
Apparently not. It's presented as this radical call for constant present moment conscious choices. Your actions have immediate energetic consequences, but the past slate is wiped clean.
Okay. And it goes even further, doesn't it? Something about intense anger.
Yes. It suggests there's no more intense anger originating from within our normal 3D reality.
Well, so where does it come from?
The book claims that extreme, really intense anger actually originates from outside our current system. It presents them as external entities or projections of entities.
So if you find yourself just flying off the handle with intense, maybe disproportionate anger.
Right. The book suggests it might actually mean you are carrying these external energies. And the idea is, once these are cleared, it becomes much easier to stay clear, to experience your true self. The book even claims that since about 1994, even when people disagree, there's this underlying respect, an ability to find common ground that wasn't always there before.
Which sort of leads into this next really fascinating concept, zero tolerance for entities. Now, this isn't just about personal clearing, is it? It sounds bigger.
Oh, it's a massive shift according to the text. It posits that we are now in a no-tolerance zone regarding entities.
Meaning?
Meaning it's your inherent right to clear them, not just from yourself, but also from others, if they are interfering with your harmony, your energetic integrity.
Okay, that's a big claim. Clearing them from others.
Yeah, it marks a really significant change from a past where the book suggests entities were kind of tolerated, maybe even cohabitated with us for their own lessons or whatever. Now the emphasis is totally on maintaining clear, personal, energetic boundaries.
And all this work, these clearings, it's all in service of what the book calls gaining ascension. But let's clarify that. This isn't about, physically floating off into space. Okay?
Exactly. No beams of light pulling you up. Ascension in this context isn't about leaving your physical body behind.
So what is it?
It's about bringing more and more of your ascended self. You could think of it as your fully integrated higher consciousness into your physical body. Right here, right now.
Okay.
The book suggests this is really about creating heaven on earth, And a big part of that is the cleaning of your own house, energetically speaking, to make space for your higher self to fully embody.
And the book says you're definitely not alone in this house cleaning process.
Yeah.
It offers a really comforting idea about constant support, what's available to us.
Yeah, it emphasizes that angels and guides are constantly with us, always ready to serve. But here's the catch.
Yeah.
The book states that by cosmic law, these invisible servants need our direct requests. They need us to ask for assistance before they can intervene and provide help, grace, guidance.
So you have to ask. They can't just jump in.
Exactly. The core message is really about getting into the habit of consciously asking for their support. They're waiting for the call.
Okay. So with this kind of new cosmic rule book laid out, let's turn to the core idea here. Understanding exactly what these entities are. The book gives a very specific definition.
It does. An entity is defined as basically anything outside the plant, animal, or mineral kingdom that has consciousness and can move.
So not necessarily physical.
Not necessarily material, no, but self-aware and animate without needing a physical body like ours. And the book then breaks them down into two main types, internal and external.
Okay, let's start with internal entities,
Yeah.
sometimes called personal entities.
Okay.
These are really interesting because they're described as something you co-created. How does that work?
That's right. They are energies you generated yourself. Often in childhood, the book says, especially during times that felt unsafe or really stressful.
Right.
It actually calls them your children or maybe little clones of you at that age, operating with immature operating systems.
So like if you created one when you were 10 to cope with something.
Exactly. It might still have the operating system of an angry 10-year-old, even though you're now, say, 40.
And the book explains, even really normal adults,
Mm-hmm.
we carry these default patterns from childhood.
Mm-hmm. Causing automatic, often kind of childlike reactions to situations now.
Right. And they were initially created to help you, right, to keep you safe or manage something difficult.
Yes, beneficent in intent. But their methods are now totally obsolete. They're actually hindering your growth now.
So what's the goal with these internal ones? Just kick them out.
No, not expulsion. It's about evolution. The goal is to evolve these internal entities through a specific process the book details, called quantum matrix healing, or QMH, helping them mature into their most evolved expressions. It's about integration.
Okay, integration for internal entities, but then there's the other major category, external entities. And these are different.
Totally different. These come from outside of you. They do not belong in your body or your energy field.
And the approach here is expulsion.
Yes. Your job here, according to the book, is to expel them.
So what kinds of external entities are there?
Well, one specific type mentioned is family entities. This is where you might have traded parts with a family member.
Traded parts, like
Yeah.
energetically.
Yes, energetically.
Yeah.
The book says these trades were often mutually agreed upon, maybe unconsciously, way back, perhaps due to shared trauma or ingrained ancestral patterns. But now they're no longer necessary or serving your highest good.
And how would you know if you had one?
They might show up as specific behaviors that just don't feel authentic to you. Or sometimes, the book claims, actual family names might come up during clearing or healing sessions. The goal is to return their part and reclaim yours, kind of disentangling your energetic lineage.
Okay. Then there are emotional entities. What are those?
These are described as external energies representing specific emotions like anger, rage, grief. The book says they can actually collect together, forming what it calls self-aware energy gangs.
Wow, energy gangs.
Yeah.
Vivid.
It uses this analogy like pet hair collecting into those tumbleweeds under the furniture.
Yeah, I know those.
It says unexpressed emotional energy can kind of aggregate like that into these distinct entities.
And why would they come to you?
Well, once they become self-aware, these emotional gangs actively gravitate towards people expressing similar energy. The book suggests they're drawn to resonant frequencies, almost hoping you can help them evolve or dissolve.
Okay, and then the ones people might be more familiar with conceptually, discarnate entities.
Yeah.
Basically ghosts, right?
Essentially, yes,
Like-
ghosts. The book says their behavior is actually portrayed pretty accurately in movies like Ghost.
Really?
Yeah. They are souls of former people who haven't moved fully into the light, maybe because they don't know they're dead or they feel they have unfinished business.
And what do they do?
According to the book, they live off your emotions. They try to get you to express their unresolved feelings.
Oh, wow. Are there examples?
Several really poignant ones, like an elderly cleaning lady who died but kept tidying up a student's house, or a father who died suddenly and apparently jumped into his daughter's body to experience love and forgiveness, which caused her to react really strongly whenever her husband wanted to play golf, which the father had hated.
That's intense.
There's even one about a 6-year-old non-swimmer who nearly drowned, and a discarnate someone who could swim jumped in to help him survive and apparently stayed with him for 50 years.
50 years? Good grief. How did they even get in?
The book lists several potential entry points. Things like abrupt death empathy, feeling intense grief for someone who died suddenly. Also, sexual intercourse, organ transplants, blood transfusions.
Okay.
And specifically, certain drugs are mentioned, things like ecstasy, mushrooms, heroin, even marijuana sometimes. The idea is they can put holes in your aura, temporarily weakening your energetic field and making you more susceptible.
Right. And there's one more specific type mentioned, the suicide entity.
Yes, the book highlights this one specifically. It states this entity attacks people who are already dealing with depression and despair.
Wow.
It supposedly feeds on the gap between a person's fantasy of how life should be and their current reality. It amplifies that disconnect until the person wrongly concludes that ending their life is the only option. The book notes its historical presence in some cultures, like Japan, and ongoing global efforts to clear it.
That's heavy stuff. The book also mentions something about how entities behave generally. Something about time.
Yeah, a key point is that entities don't tell time, meaning they can stick around for decades, like that 50-year example.
Wow. A long-term guest you didn't invite.
Pretty much. And they often operate through what the book calls symbiosis, doing something for the host that the host maybe can't or won't do for themselves, like an anger entity expressing anger for someone who suppresses it.
So sometimes it might seem helpful.
They might seem helpful or like they're filling a gap, but the book is very clear. Even if an entity seems beneficial in some limited way, it's ultimately interfering with your authentic self, your own power, your own emotional expression, and it should be cleared.
Okay, so we have a better understanding of what these entities are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Now, how does the book propose we actually regain our authentic selves?
It offers practical methods for clearing, right?
Yeah.
Reinforcing that zero tolerance idea.
That's right. Getting clear is presented really practically, almost like washing your body energetically.
An energetic shower.
Kind of. And the book makes this powerful claim that your fifth-dimensional self, your integrated higher consciousness, only needs about 51% of you to be cleared to tip the scale.
Only 51%.
Yeah. Enough to create a tipping point towards your God connection, as it puts it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be perfectly clear to start experiencing profound shifts in functioning from a higher vibration.
But just stay clear after you do some initial work. It mentions the Merkaba meditation as being ideal for that. What does that do exactly? The Merkaba meditation, it's a specific type of meditation involving sacred geometry visualization. It's said to create an impenetrable field around you.
Like a shield.
An energetic shield, yeah. A protective barrier that helps you maintain your clarity and energetic integrity against external influences after you've done the clearing work.
Now, the book puts a lot of emphasis on how you communicate during clearing. It insists on using a commanding voice. Why is that so important?
It compares it to telling a dog to sit. You don't suggest, you command, right?
Right.
You use an authoritative tone to express your intent with absolute clarity and authority. These external energies, the book explains, respond to that clear, decisive intent. Weak or wavering intent doesn't work.
Is there a risk if you don't?
Well, there's this cautionary tale in the book about someone trying to clear something, but their tone wasn't commanding enough, and apparently their favorite silk jacket got shredded.
Whoa.
And there's a warning that your own fear can actually be used against you by an entity.
Oh.
So your energetic stance, that authority, is really paramount.
Okay, command voice. Got it. And the book consistently recommends calling in assistance, doesn't it? Specifically, Archangel Michael and the Golden Illumination Elohim.
Yes, consistently. Archangel Michael is pretty well known across different traditions for championing light and protection.
Right.
And the book uses this helpful analogy. Think of Archangel Michael as the laundry soap for general cleanup. Great for broad energetic clearing, cutting ties, protection.
Okay, laundry soap and the Golden Illumination Elohim.
They're described as the enzymatic cleaner. They go deeper. They consume your attachment to the cause and the core of any dark energy. They dissolve the very root of why certain energies might have latched onto you in the first place.
So Michael for the surface clean, Elohim for the deep clean.
Kind of, yeah. Calling on both offers a really comprehensive approach.
Makes sense. So when it comes to the actual key clearing techniques, several are outlined. What are some of the more accessible ones people might try?
Well, one common one is the smudging ceremony, using aromatic herbs like pine or sage. Burning them creates smoke, and the scent is said to be disliked by entities, causing them to leave the space or the person being smudged.
Okay, smudging. What else?
There's the cutting ceremony. This involves using a stainless steel knife or blade. The book stresses it should be dulled for safety. And you physically make cutting motions through the energy field around a person or a room or even a pet.
Cutting energy. Does that hurt the entities?
The book says no, they don't get physically hurt by a dull blade, obviously. But they find the energetic disruption really uncomfortable and they tend to leave. Apparently, Madame Blavatsky, a key figure in Theosophy, taught this method way back.
Interesting historical connection. Now, the book goes really deep into quantum matrix healing, QMH. You mentioned it earlier for internal entities. It's a two-person process, a driver and a navigator.
Yes. It's described as a way to enter the quantum zone of all possibilities. The driver is the one being worked on. The navigator facilitates. And together, with the help of the driver's higher self, they identify and evolve those internal entities we talked about.
It can also uncover external entities hiding. You mentioned energetic mushrooms or Oreo cookies.
Exactly. QMH is apparently very effective at spotting external entities that might be cleverly layered or disguised behind internal ones, trying to avoid detection.
How do you tell the difference?
The key indicator, according to the book, is if the driver's higher self cannot identify the entity's most evolved potential version. If the higher self doesn't recognize its potential for positive evolution within the person's system, it's a strong sign it's an external imposter that needs to be expelled, not evolved.
That's a fascinating distinction. And you said a crucial part of QMH for the internal ones involves gratitude.
Absolutely vital. A key step is expressing deep, sincere gratitude to the immature internal entity for its past service. Even though its methods were maybe unhelpful or outdated, acknowledging its original positive intention is what creates the energetic space for it to finally evolve. It's quite compassionate, really.
It is. Now, this brings up another point.
Mm-hmm.
What about parts of ourselves we feel we've lost? Maybe pieces we broke off to survive trauma or intense loss? The book talks about soul retrieval.
Yes, soul retrieval is about reclaiming those fragmented pieces of your consciousness, aspects of yourself that might feel like they got locked in time and space, especially after a sudden death or a major trauma.
How do you retrieve them?
Your intention and your memory act as the links. You consciously call those pieces back to integrate them into your whole self now. The book also adds that this personal healing work actually helps heal Mother Earth, too, suggesting our fragmentation impacts the whole planetary field.
Wow, okay. The book also mentions specific ceremonies, like claiming your right to be fully of the light, referencing Lynn Grabhorn's work. What's that about?
It's described as a really powerful invocation. Basically, you formally declare and demand that all your guides and helpers be of 100% pure light. And you irrevocably cancel any old contracts or agreements, conscious or unconscious, with any energies or entities that are not of that pure light. It's about consciously affirming your energetic sovereignty with real authority.
And a practical tip for people who collect artifacts. Clearing curses or masks. Why is that important?
The book warns that authentic tribal masks, in particular, can carry original energy, sometimes potent, sometimes maybe hosting entities. Just burning them, if they hold something negative, might just release the entity elsewhere. So a specific clearing protocol is recommended first to ensure any attached energies are properly transitioned or neutralized before disposal.
Good to know. And one more very specific application. Prayer before anesthesia and surgery. What's the purpose there?
This is an invocation designed to create what the book calls a ring-pass-knot barrier around a person while they're under anesthesia or during surgery.
A protective bubble.
Essentially, yes. An energetic protective field to prevent any opportunistic entities from entering their body while they're in that unconscious, vulnerable state. It's about proactive, energetic safeguarding during medical procedures.
Okay. And briefly, it touches on psychic attacks. What's the gist there?
It explains them simply as someone consciously or unconsciously sending negative energy to impact your field. But it reiterates that if your Merkaba field is activated and strong, you're basically immune.
Right.
And sometimes it suggests what feels like an attack might actually be a false one, just an old memory of a past attack being triggered. Or maybe you're just picking up on someone else's contained negative feelings like disapproval, but it's not actually being directed at you personally. Discernment is key.
So bringing this all together, what does this mean for everyday life? If someone does this work, what changes? The book talks about the new normal of healing.
Yeah, it paints this picture of humanity heading towards a great golden age of spirituality.
Mhm.
And part of that is this idea that we can actually be considered healed and functioning well with only 51% of our emotional wounds resolved.
The 51% again.
Right. That tipping point is apparently enough to allow us to function pretty normally, connect with, and start embodying our God self, as the book terms it.
And what if old issues, old pains seem to come back after clearing? Does that mean it didn't work?
Not at all. The book reframes returning pain not as failure, but as an opportunity. It means you're now strong enough to tackle another layer of the issue. You just use the same tools that worked before. It's about seeing it as progress in a layered healing journey, not a setback. No self-judgment needed.
That's a helpful perspective. The book wraps up with some really compelling anonymous testimonials from the first class where this was taught, real-world feedback.
Yeah, some striking stories, like the no fragrance lady. She had such severe sensitivity, she initially thought she couldn't possibly attend the workshop. Yet she felt compelled down the road to be there anyway. And during one meditation, she had this incredibly vivid experience. Saw a violet vortex with a white dolphin, a clear sign of a profound energetic shift happening despite her physical challenges.
Wow. And there was another one about dealing with difficult people.
Yes. A participant shared how they noticed a huge difference in how they reacted at work, specifically because of the QMH technique. They learned not to take a coworker's constant short fuse so personally.
Now so.
They felt less self-judgment, even when the anger seemed aimed right at them. They could discern better what was the coworker's stuff versus their own. It wasn't just a small attitude change. They attributed it directly to clearing external energies, allowing them to hold their own space.
That sounds incredibly useful.
And another person felt strong enough finally to really stand up for herself in a tough work situation. And interestingly, a coworker actually commented, noticing she seemed suddenly more in charge and stronger. External validation of an internal shift.
That's powerful. And there was even a physical anecdote.
A really surprising one. Someone with diabetes who normally had numb feet reported actually feeling a physical sensation in their feet right after a cutting ceremony was performed near them with a sword. Unexpected, direct physical feedback from an energetic process.
Okay, these are some really thought-provoking ideas and potential outcomes. It definitely gives you a different lens to look through.
It really does.
So here's where it gets really interesting to ponder.
Mm-hmm.
If these hidden parts of ourselves, and maybe even our world, truly have these kinds of operating systems that can potentially be updated or cleared,
Mm-hmm.
what previously impossible changes could you, the listener, reweave into your own reality starting today?
It's a big question. Maybe consider what personal patterns, what automatic reactions you have that you might want to investigate with this, well, this very different perspective in mind, what might be underneath them.